Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Adam Harris here, wrapping up the year 2024. Great year for figures, great year for toy hunting, and a great year here for the collection. I'm going to show you some of my favorite new figures of the year and some of my favorite vintage purchases that I made this year as well. Welcome back to the channel. Starting off with the new figures of the year, I couldn't really bring myself to rank them, although my favorite is definitely the last one I'll talk about when it comes to new figures. Have to give a shout out to the new United States Women's Champion, the first ever United States Women's Champion, the youngest Women's Champion, longest reigning U.S. Women's Champion. She's the hero that we all need, as we saw on Saturday night's main event, the one and only Chelsea Green, her first elite figure in the Series 108. Nobody's had a bigger year than Chelsea Green. Does her win-loss record reflect that? Maybe not, but she's the U.S. champion, and she's going to have a big year in 2025. Moving along to my favorite Ultimates, I guess. These two, we're going to call it a tie because I was equally excited when both of these were announced. First of all, the Greatest Hits Charlotte's Ultimate. I've had this on my watch list for a long time, wanting to get the original version. And finally, this came around back on Ringside in the Greatest Hits edition. They're already doing Greatest Hits of Ultimate Edition, so I had to pick that up. And then this Cody, it sold out the first go round, and I wasn't going to miss out on it the second time around. This has got to be the definitive Cody figure, although I do have my eye on the Ringside exclusive with the injury, with the pec injury, the bruised Cody Rhodes. Missed out on that one the first time. And that's just such a defining moment, so to speak, for Cody Rhodes and in the history of wrestling, really. I mean, that is one that anybody that saw it is never going to forget it. And I'm so thankful that they put it into figure form in that new Ringside exclusive. So maybe that'll be on next year's favorites. The year began on the hunt for this newly released Legends figure of the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. We were so excited about it when he was here for a meet and greet. He was telling us he's got a Legends figure coming out. He was showing us some of this concept art for his figure, and we were all looking forward to it. And we knew he was coming back to be a part of the Bash in Beckley from ASW this year. And so this one also ended up being one of my favorite autographs of the year. It looks so cool on this Legends figure. And Jimmy Hart, man, he signed my figure and he said, "Let it dry, baby." And he blew on it. So I've got legit Jimmy Hart DNA on my Legends figure. One of my favorites from this year. And shout out to Gary Damron, who is the one who talked to a Target employee at one Target who told him that they had them in stock at the other Target. I was already headed out that way. So I picked one of these up for my guy, Gary, and one for myself to get signed at the Bash in Beckley as well. So super attached to that figure here in 2024. The Jimmy Hart WWE Legends. This is one I would not necessarily have been looking for, but I was so stoked to see it on the shelf, and it's not one you can really pass up. The Superstar series, I know people have trouble finding these on the shelves. I haven't seen a doink since. Maybe I did. It was in like a torn up package. As you can see, this one's pretty pristine, and I had to have it. I've been collecting a lot of these. Most of the ones I have are unpunched. Found a few this year, and like I said, when I'm lucky enough to see them, I almost have to pick them up, which is a dangerous concept in and of itself. So this Doink figure is one of the best figures in what I think is the best line of figures that came out this year, the Superstars series that's available at Walmart. And wrapping it up for the new figures this year, this one's close to my heart for a lot of reasons. I'm a big Andre the Giant fan, love collecting his figures ever since the LJN. And so this one is a tribute, actually an upgrade to the LJNs from Big Rubber Guys, the major wrestling figure podcast. Big Rubber Guys, Andre the Giant, one strap. Boy, I just love this figure. And my friend Bishop Baylor picked this up for me at the Capitol Market here in Charleston at the Purple Onion. It's like this produce shop that sells spices and lots of fruits and vegetables. And Alan, who runs the Purple Onion, is a huge collector. And he started picking up on the major figure collection, including the Big Rubber Guys. Bishop Baylor texted me, said, "Yo, check out what they have at the Purple Onion." And the lovely 80-year-old woman that works at the Purple Onion bagged it up for him, rung him up, and he delivered this Andre the Giant Big Rubber Guys to me. So thank you to him, and thanks to Big Rubber Guys for making such an excellent figure. Definitely my favorite new figure of 2024. So stick around. I think I'm going to do the long form video here and show you my 5 vintage figures that I picked up in 2024. Thanks for watching. If you're enjoying this, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Got fun stuff planned for 2025, including our review of a legendary Lee Bad pay-per-view from WCW that took place in Charleston, West Virginia, coming up 25 years ago. So stay tuned to the channel for that, and thanks again for watching. Moving on now to my favorite vintage figures that I picked up in 2024. I showed you some of my new ones. I don't buy a ton of new figures, although it may seem like it. I bought more this year than I normally do, and I kind of doubt there's some on the list that are coming out that look interesting to me, but, you know, Mattel is using the new factory. Their figures are coming from Vietnam now. Some issues with those, and even as a mint and box collector for the most part. And I only collect a few guys anyway, guys and ladies, and I know there's going to be some Charlotte Flairs to come out this year, so give us the real ultimate Charlotte Flair. Give us the green peacock robe. How about it? So, looking back towards some vintage figures, I'm guessing, I don't know what the newest of these vintage figures is, probably 1999. And so these are all older than that, and things that I've added to my collection in 2024, starting with the Brain, Bobby Heenan. Man, was at the Great Ohio Toy Show. My buddy Matt Sutton was looking at a Macho Man wrestling buddy, and the same dealer had this on the table. So he used it as a negotiating piece, and I came out ahead on that one with this beautiful, in great shape, Bobby the Brain Heenan LJN, and he'll be going on the shelf behind me here, perhaps coming up in the new year. What a beautiful figure, repping the original Big Rubber guys. Another of my favorite vintage toy purchases this year. I saw this in the Inner Geek in Ashland, Kentucky when I first got back into collecting in 2021. Didn't get it that day. It was more than I wanted to pay at that moment, but I regretted it because I spent a lot of time looking for this in a great condition. And I finally found it this year from Edward Bay. I didn't find it in the wild, but I found a great deal on it. The Power and Beauty 2-pack Macho Man and Miss Elizabeth from the Monday Night War time period, of course, from Toy Biz. This one was released in 1999, World Championship Wrestling. I love the back photo as well. It's one of the coolest parts, actually, is that photo of black and white Randy and Liz. The NWO, Macho Man and Liz. Definitely one of my favorite pickups this year. Now, there were two figures I didn't do in my new figures portion. That, of course, the Monday Night Wars Harlem Heats that I got black and the blue versions. Love that. Definitely some of my favorite figures to come out in 2024. But I had to have those blues because I've been collecting the original San Francisco toy maker 2-packs of Harlem Heat. This is what I guess you could call the navy blue or the dark blue that they mimicked in the new Monday Night Wars series. I love this 2-pack. Found it on eBay. We got a great price. The guy took my offer. I've got the red one up on the shelf. Now I have the blue one. So in 2025, you can guarantee I'm going to be picking up the black original 2-pack of these Harlem Heat figures. Booker T and Stevie Ray, some of my favorites to collect. Getting close to the top, I've got two more vintage figures that I picked up in 2024. This one, that's been on my list for a long time. I've got it loose up on the shelf. This is the Jericho Ringmasters. It's his first action figure, and it came out from WCW, again from Toy Biz in 1999. It's even got the Marvel logo down here. But by the time this hit the shelves, he was headed to the WWE to go ahead and make wrestling history, and he's still doing it to this day. Chris Jericho still holds a place in my heart. One of my favorite wrestlers. I saw this guy in the early 90s wrestling for Smoky Mountain Wrestling at the Beckley Raleigh County Armory. Chris Jericho, the Lion Tamer Ringmaster Series. One of my favorite vintage figures of 2024. And number one of my favorite vintage figures of 2024. This one literally came in the first month of the year. Sat on it from January until June because this superstar was making an appearance at the Bash in Beckley. It was the biggest happening to take place at ASW for a long time, and yeah, I got it signed. The original bone-crunching action, the first Gold Dust figure here, and yeah, before I could even say anything, he signed it with a Sharpie. I know. But, you know, it goes with the story. I got my picture with Dustin Rhodes. This is one of my favorite figures. It's a great figure. He's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. So definitely my favorite vintage figure I picked up this year. And I'd have to say my favorite autograph of the year as well. Shout out to Stephen P. New, who helped make that happen, and All Star Wrestling, who presented the Bash in Beckley. Stay tuned to this channel for all the great news that's coming up for 2025 from All Star Wrestling. This is Adam Harris, ring announcer, wrestling fan, and low budget collector here in the Mountain State. Appreciate you watching. We'll see you at the matches. See you next time.